Hello, viewers, greetings, and welcome to this episode of Leadership Matters, a video series highlighting the stories and experiences of global leaders and providing leadership advice. The series is hosted by Avinash Ananda, a recognized leadership advisor, happiness strategist, and a motivational keynote speaker. Over the course of more than 30 years, Avinash has personally mentored more than 1,000 leaders and trainers and trained more than 1 million individuals from all walks of life in 30 countries. Our special guest for today's episode is Mr. Param Bhargava, founder of the Ayurveda Company. Param Bhargava, a prominent player in the consumer goods sector, has devoted his professional efforts to creating the nation's most distinctive and indigenous Ayurveda brands for millennials and Gen Z. Param and his wife founded the beauty and wellness company KHADI Essentials in 2019. Later in 2021, the couple launched the Ayurveda Company, which quickly rose to the top of the market.
Hi, friends. Viewers, today I've got someone very, very interesting to speak with. This is part of the Lead and Succeed episode series that we do with very interesting and intelligent and inspirational individuals. But today, this individual who I have with me is not just interesting, inspirational, he is also a pioneer of sorts. But a pioneer, somebody used to say earlier that the role of a good parent is to give the child good roots and also to give wings. And here, Param and I were just chatting. Param Bhargava is our guest for tonight, and I'm very, very happy to be here with him. Param and I were just chatting. I said, "What about kids, man? Do you have kids?" He says, "No, my business is my first baby, and we want to see this baby grow." But what I found about him is that he's got roots and he's got wings, and absolutely amazing. Param, welcome to this episode.
Thanks a lot, Avinash. Thanks for having me. Equally excited to, discuss and chat about our journey, about past, about the way we want to build and what we are trying to build. And happy if I'm able to contribute and, inspire people to start something and build something large in the future.
That's fantastic. So let's start with the story, Param. Where did it all begin?
So, Avinash, this is
What's your background like? Because I remember from what little bit I know is that you started very young. You started even in business very young. And you didn't start big. You started very small. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So, I am a student of life. My parents have a very strong, they're one of the strongest reasons for my, very early age and fast learning curve in life. I started when I was 7. My father started few businesses while I was growing up. Our first business was, setting up the first QSR food van in Delhi when I was just 7. And from there, I've started, my learning curve of business. The business was a Chinese food van where, a lot of people used to come, eat. We used to sell a 5 rupee Chinese noodle. And and we've also seen great days like flying out to Goa in 1989. But when we started seeing the depression curves also when larger global companies started coming in. So our food van business got shut down because McDonald's came into the same complex and they partnered in with the local bodies to get our food van out, because we also used to give burger patty wala burger. So they wanted us out. So our journey,
Delhi NCR area?
Delhi NCR. So Preetware, there is a CBSE building in Delhi where the CBSE office is. Just outside that, there was the food van. That is how my journey started actually in life. I was 6-7 years old.
Wow.
So it was 1993-94 when we started and launched that business. And from there, till the time I launched my own startup, I was just 29-30, but I had more than 23-24 years of experience. And a crazy ride for myself in terms of, just believing in one thing, you go out there on the ground, do it, fail, do it again, fail, do it again until you succeed. That has been the mantra, and contribute to everyone's growth, who is around you. So that's how, a lot of people have been asking ki, "Yaar, do you believe on luck, and do you feel yourself lucky to raise a large round in such a down market?"
Right.
I've told them very clearly कि यार मेरे हाथ में रेखा मैंने बनाई है, और अगर आपको अपने ऊपर विश्वास आप बनाओ.
Kya baat hai, kya baat hai. For the rest of you, I want to put this together very quickly. You see, he said so many brilliant things. First of all, what Param has done is he's given an ultimate success formula. Those of you get that, please. It's a 4-step ultimate success formula that Param has just given. Step number 1, know what you want. Step number 2, get into action. Step number 3, see what's working, not working. Step number 4, go back to step number 2 until you succeed. But this formula is backed with, Param just said, compassion, contribution, a desire to add value. What a formula, I'm telling you. Just use this. This is perfect for today's times. Another thing for you viewers is that Param has just recently got a huge investment in his company, and it's just doing crazy. Being able to take out the time to even have this conversation is something very exciting, and difficult and actually challenging at this time. Param, what is it that in this kind of a scenario where there is a recession going on in the world, you have companies like Sequoia and others who are right now, nobody's investing money. Forget about investing money, there are companies that are shutting down. A lot of these companies are based on, it's almost like a bubble. There's no connection between the valuation, the sales, and the investments. This is another lesson that Param just brought out, is that keep your feet on the ground. Could you tell us a little more about that, Param?
So, Avinash, as I mentioned earlier, my personal journey before starting was all key. We have seen a lot of ups and downs regularly in my life. In terms, there were 3-4 businesses which my father started, but nothing really went very large. Nothing really became very large. Sure. And I always, at that point of time, I was very happy ki, I'm getting to learn so many things. But one thing which now, if I, look back, that we were not very focused on building something very large. One thing which you can really build large, right? So that is another learning which, when I look back, that I had experience of building a QSR, I had experience of running a distribution business with my father, hiring business where I learned FMCG trading, and hiring for companies like Color Bar, Revlon, Dabur, etc. And then also my jobs, right? A lot of other experiences of brand building. But what clearly one large was that you have to be on ground, but you have to be also very well focused on one large consistent thing, right? Which was not there with us. And then if I compare it with other startups across, why we say in every 7 to 10 days the world goes through this curve, again there is this depression curve, so I relate that depression with this depression and try to say कि हम इससे impact कैसे नहीं होंगे. So उसकी जो learning थी कि आप एक तो focused हो और दूसरा आप एक core चीजों से जुड़े हो. That if you are focused on, say, business which is built on sustainability, business which is built on stability, and not on paper, which is not on, say, Excel sheets, not on business plans to pitch only to investors to raise money and create wealth. So wealth creation is not difficult in today's world. If it's very easy to make money, it's very easy to create wealth. But is it easy to create value? Is it easy to create something which can have a long-lasting impact and help more people to create value? That is not easy. So how do you create something which can create large impact, large value? That was my mission, that I don't want to be in a fad kind of a thing. I want to be in something which is only one first goal is IPO. IPO is a starting goal. It's not the end goal. Because when you go to IPO and you raise from people, you raise from the population of the country, you have such a large responsibility on your shoulders, because everyone is putting their hard-earned money into it, right? That how do we build something like that? That's not the end goal. That's the starting goal. And from there the journey starts. That is what we intend to build.
Phenomenal. Absolutely fantastic. So it's not just learn from reality. It's not just contribution, but if the idea is what are you focusing on? If the focus is only money, you would have been happy with distributing all those different products. You just had to increase the number of your portfolio. But you wanted to create something of value which will last a longer time and make a difference. And for that, you needed focus. What made you decide to focus on Ayurveda?
So, Mahesh, so this is an outcome of our personal experiences of some personal life issues. So, myself, Param, and my wife Shreedha are the co-founders of this brand called TAC, the Ayurveda Company. Right? We entered into Ayurveda because Shreedha was suffering from a severe skin disease called urticaria for 3 to 4 years. Her suffering was because of a lot of stress of her personal life, which she was facing with her father, abusive marriage with her, because of abusive marriage of her mother, and parents getting separated. And then she had to take care of her younger brothers and mother from a very early age. So all of that stress finally, came on in form of urticaria on her skin. And we struggled to find solutions for 3-4 years for this from normal derma or dermats or normal doctors in
It's a
NCR.
stress related allergy, right?
Stress related severe form of allergy, which
allergy.
comes on hands, head, back, everywhere there were boils. There was, even if the boils were going, so there were very severe spots which were visible on the skin, back, and head, right? And from there, when we were not getting solutions, so finally, after 3-4 years, Shreedha's mother is a home Ayurveda practitioner. We took her advice, and she recommended certain lifestyle changes. She recommended certain products to eat, products to apply, and from there, to our surprise, in 1.5 to 3 months total overall time, she recovered, and and even the spots, started going away at a great pace. So, and I was 29 or years of old age. So at that time, I realized, here I'm 29 and I've had so many experiences in my life, and I've not seen this. How is it possible, right? So that was more towards an eye opener. Ki something is missing, something large is missing. And again, my all old entrepreneurial kida came in. Kya ye kuch hai jo I have not seen, and if I have not seen anything, so there will be many other people, young people like me, who have not seen this, who have not witnessed this. Can this be given or brought out to to the larger population of the country? And then from there started looking at what is the gaps, what are the problem areas that can be identified, can we create something, started looking at more problems, deeper problems to be solved, and then started to look at what we wanted to build and how we wanted to build. In later on I can explain that what all problems we first identified and how we are solving to create and to build what we have built.
That's absolutely amazing. But Ayurveda has been here forever. Huh? You experienced it and you saw the benefits, and then you found the niche. Huh? That's a beautiful personal story. But how did you convert it into a business? Because Ayurveda, so everybody knows about it. What made it different?
So, the best thing is actually the worst thing also. It was for Ayurveda. Best thing was that everyone was knowing about Ayurveda, but the consumption of Ayurveda was not happening. That is the worst thing, right? So those were the problems which we wanted to identify, and then we wanted to solve. So when we started this identification phase, which is for new age founders, you can term it as the product market fit phase, right? That how do you reach to the product market fit? You have to identify the product, you have to identify the market, right? So what problems we analyzed, we identified were that Ayurveda has been there forever, right? Anyone in India, even if they're 100, 200 years old, they would have heard about Ayurveda. But now when you try and compare that, why it is still not in the mainframe or the mainstream as the first go-to. अगर मैं पहले ही ले लेता तो मैं 3.5-4 साल सफर नहीं करता, right?
Right.
पहला point
You
क्यों
also
नहीं
took it later.
Right? Why? So वो problem ये थी कि
do people believe?
No.
Young
So people don't believe. That's where we as young age brands are coming in, where we are solving that belief problem from young content, social media, influencer content, where people have to believe, because then we reach out to them in their way, right? So what were the problems? Problems were that because if you compare, Indian Ayurveda has been a backseat, and when you see Chinese traditional medicine or Japanese traditional medicines, they have been mainstreams, right? So the reason is that Indians and India has a very strong affection towards Western culture, right?
Sure.
We try to follow whatever is happening in the US and Europe, right? We try to consume same, right? And because of that, Ayurveda has gone onto a backseat. The larger pharma companies, the larger beauty companies have a constant effort that because India is a large consumer for the global products, there has been a constant effort that Indian Ayurveda doesn't come into the mainstream. This was the first problem, that how do you bring Ayurveda to the mainstream?
Right. I was talking to Dr. Isaac Matthias. He's a friend of my father's, well-known Ayurvedic doctor. And he was saying that one of the main reasons is that there's not enough money pumped into doing the scientific research that is required to prove that it works, because there's vested interest with the pharma companies and other companies who don't want it to come out. Is that true also?
Absolutely.
Have you done some work in that area?
Yes, absolutely. So we work very strongly. We have very strong R&D labs, our product development cycle, our innovation cycle, that as we say that how we innovate in Ayurveda and how do we spend in creating systems, processes which can build global level products. That has never happened in Ayurveda, because Ayurveda, because of not being mainstream, people have not invested, neither domestic businesses nor global businesses. And now to compete with the larger brands, if you start investing, it will come back in the mainstream, and it will give better results than as compared to the other companies, right? So there it is our mission that we are investing. That's why we are raising capital also, where we put certain portion of our capital in R&D, product development, taking global certifications for the brand. We already have large certifications for all of our products, which are say US FDA certified, or
you have that also? That's amazing.
Yes. So there is a large Australian body like MadeSafe is certified that the product are safe for usage on skin and hair. The products are also certified by MadeSafe. That how the Indian Ayurveda product get globally certified so that we can take it across the globe.
And what a market. I mean, even in India, if you look at it, you have an age-old traditional product and you have an entire young demography in terms of audience. That's phenomenal. So you're looking after the scientific part of it, the communication part of it, the logistics part of it. You manufacture, or how does it work?
So we have 4 units. Out of those, 2 units are co-owned by us, 2 are completely contractual manufacturing. But even those 2 contractuals are, we are their largest buyers. So predominantly we have our QC teams across all 4 units, which do very strong QC. And so eventually the way we are growing, we cannot immediately invest capital investment into setting up manufacturing, because that's a different ballgame altogether.
Sure.
And we want to help more people to create wealth. So we create the engine of growth in terms that, more and more older Ayurveda units can get the benefit of working with TAC, so that their manufacturing facilities can be, grow. We will invest in units, will help smaller entrepreneurs to, work for us, manufacture for us. We'll give them systems, we'll give them money, we'll give them processes, we'll give them global technical know-how, we'll give them, larger trainings to build stronger units. But we will not 100% own many units, because the vision for TAC is very, very large. So, and it cannot be fulfilled by just setting up.
What is the TAC line? It's beautiful. I heard it before. Can you share that, please?
लाते हैं young and restless India को Ayurveda में back with TAC.
लाते हैं young और restless young India को back.
लाते हैं
Ayurveda को back.
लाते हैं यंग एंड रेस्टलेस इंडिया को आयुर्वेदा में बैक विद टैक.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful. So bring back youngsters into what is the age-old tradition of Ayurveda,
Yes.
and speak their language and make them understand it, so that it becomes a way of life. So Ayurveda is supposed to be known also as the fifth Veda, no, out of the other four. Ayur is life, Veda is knowledge. Knowledge of life.
Knowledge of life.
Lovely, lovely. A little bit about you, please, Param. Your wife is with you in the business, right? This is
absolutely equal partners of life, equal partners in crime, equal partners in tech.
Fantastic, fantastic. And she's okay now?
Yeah, she's absolutely fine. She's the largest reason of our growth here. She's the CEO and the co-founder of the business. She does the majority of the work.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Yeah? That's fantastic. What is it that drives both of you? Or what is it that drives you? If there's something different for her, tell me that also, please. Because why I ask this question is because you had Wipro invest in you first.
Yeah.
Now, I work with companies where we instill values in organizations. So I remember at one time I was given 3 words from Wipro, and then we created into an entire thing, because the values should not be just words on the wall. They should be lived. And lived by every person at every level in the organization. Your personal values seem to be very grounded in reality. You have a very strategic mind, but your values seem to be very solid, very strong. There's a transparency and a down-to-earth feeling that I get when I speak with you. Is it similar with your wife, and is it part of what are the foundational characteristics of you that have come into the company?
So very interesting, if I have to reflect onto this. So I was not like this when I started, actually. So there has been a large transformation in myself, and my wife is a big role. She has a large role to play in my transformation, in terms that as I mentioned earlier, when before we started this discussion. So it's like that we want to create a very strong impact on earth, right? That's one common goal which me and Shreedha have. That how do we create large impact, right?
What does the name mean, Shreedha?
Shreedha, Shri ko dharan karne wali.
Shri matlab
Bhagwan.
अच्छा, क्या बात है. हाँ, श्री को धारण करने वाली. Okay. Yeah. The one who manifests divinity in some way. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes,
lovely.
Absolutely.
And Param means primary. Huh?
Yes.
So Param means number one.
Yes. And that's why we call ourselves at Shri Param. It's like this is our combination, Shri Param. So
if you manifest the divinity within you, then you become Param, which is you become number one. And I wish that for your company. But go ahead, please. You were telling me about the qualities. And wives transforming husbands is a hard thing. But please share your story.
So, transforming as in the way I look at life, the way I look at things, the way I operate. It's not the changes. It's not those changes that are mere hisab se chalo. It was always has been in a better way, and that's why it has become a strong, partnership and a combination. That how we look at it.
Give an example. How you were, how you became, for example.
So, for example, I was always aggressive, right? Aggressive to achieve something large. Now I am aggressive plus assertive. But also I'm a calm and composed guy at the same time, where it's for us as founders, it's important to listen, to hear, and not to just say कि यार ये कर दो, उससे काम नहीं चलेगा. You'll have to listen, you'll have to absorb. So a lot of quality changes have happened, which is giving us this strong flexibility to build something large.
Has she changed in any way?
She also changed. So she was a human resources business partner in her last role. Now she's a business leader. She's a businesswoman. She's driving the. So if I am handling certain outside things, and she's handling the entire organization. So she understood sales. So because I was a sales guy, my sales, my managerial skills went to her. She understands what numbers, what skills, what sales, how sales is important for any organization, primarily, right? So that went to her. How to work, say, we do a lot of parallel works together. So I was always great at multitasking. So she was something that एक task करेंगे उसको complete करेंगे. But she also realized that it's important that अगर आप job कर रहे हो तो वो ठीक है. But when you're building a large company, a large ecosystem, you have to do a lot of multitasking, right? So how do you do multitasking? How do you, fit yourself as a great multitasker so that everyone will have to trust your teams only look up to you because you are the last pole, right? So they will have to see कि चाहे 10 अलग-अलग segments की problem है, but आपका brain equally perform कर रहा है कि अगर supply chain वाला आ जाए, brand वाला आ जाए, sales वाला आ जाए, परचेज वाला आ जाए, फाइनेंस वाला आ जाए, सबकी अलग प्रॉब्लम्स है बट आपको एक ही टाइम पे सबको रिएक्शंस देने हैं एंड यू हैव टू चेंज योर गियर्स.
There's this movie, which was the movie in which there was a dream within a dream within a dream. Have you heard of the movie?
I have seen that, yes.
It's Christopher
Inception.
Nolan's movies are very confusing movies, huh?
Inception,
precisely. So what they say in that movie is a very interesting theory that when you are sleeping, your mind is working faster, and because your mind is working faster, time is going slower. So to link that with what you said just now, Param, the very fact that you're able to do so many things, that you have so many people, you have the HR guy, you have this guy, you have so many problems to solve simultaneously, it looks simultaneous, but in your mind, everything is going like slow motion and you're able to handle each one. So when you optimize your mind, time you get more.
And
other people think you're very multitask. Actually, in reality, in psychology, there's no such thing as multitasking. Your mind is switching from one to the other. It depends on the speed. That's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. But you don't look like it. The good thing about you, I don't mean it in any bad way. I mean that you look very calm. You look very centered. So that's really cool. I wonder what your leadership style is. Can we do a fun thing, please? I'll ask you some questions like a rapid fire, really fast, whatever comes to my mind. There's nothing prepared here, and you just tell me whatever comes to your mind. Okay, short answers, one sentence, one word, whatever you want. Dar, fear. This is one of my favorite questions. Should it be used as a motivating factor or way to get things done, or is it a motivating factor? Even if it's not used, is it a motivating factor? For people in an organization or in a relationship, is fear a motivating factor?
No, fear is never a motivating factor.
Okay.
Fear is something you have to fight. So if fear as a psychology is given to suppress, it will never. If your fear is given to fight, that iske aage jeet hai, then it creates difference. So
wow. So you mean fear, if it's given as a challenge to somebody to overcome that to win, then it could be a positive thing. Yes. But if fear is given to control or suppress, it's not good. Brilliant. Another question. The integrity or honesty, how important is that to succeed in life?
Supreme. It is like Param. मतलब उसके आगे कुछ नहीं है. If you are transparent, if you can stand in front of the mirror that I have done everything honestly, there is. So what I meant in my earlier lines that the only one single common goal between me and Shreedha is to create value and to create impact. If any individual on earth has to create impact or value of life, they have to be super integrity quotient has to be top. Everything will follow. Everything will come back. Even if things are not working, and if you're still true to your mission, true to your transparent, and things will come back to you.
Brilliant. Balance. Work. Anything besides work. How does this work? I mean, are you the kind of person who's completely into just one thing? Or do you balance your life? What is your fundamental? People talk about work-life balance. I don't understand it, but people talk about it. What do you feel about it?
So this is something, actually openly debatable in terms that what stage of business or what stage of relationship you are at.
Right.
It's very important. I have a strong belief that it balance has to be there. If you want to term it like work-life balance, there are two separate things. There has to be time where you enjoy, and there has to be time when you crazily work, right? So you say work hard, right? Fail harder and party hardest, right? This has to happen. So because if you are working hard, you will fail, but you have to fail harder so that your failure rate is not on small things, it's on larger things. And then you enjoy also, because if you are not enjoying which you have achieved, you cannot go to next milestones, right? So now to create a balance, it's important for us, for our lives, as because we also have a personal relation, so which also gets stretched because we are working together. But how do you create balance, and how do you also ensure that if you are bringing good people, you are mentoring them to go to another level, they stay with you when you are dreaming or vision, you are creating a vision for the IPO, right? For them not to burn out, it's important for them also to have things can be smaller things like going out with your teams, or taking them out, or longer things of creating wealth for them, whatever gives them that kick. अब एक चीज है कि कहीं भी हो, चाहे इंडिया की स्टार्टअप हो या बाहर की स्टार्टअप, आउटसाइड इंडिया, राइट? The times are tough. It is by default expected for startups to grow faster than regular companies. Otherwise, there is no point of building a startup. So for us, say for example, I'll give you one number, you might be surprised. Our internal targets for next financial year is minimum 30% growth month on month basis. 30%. So that means 360% in a year, which is a 4 times growth from your current revenue. So that will create pressure, but you will have to also ensure that what gives them that kick to deliver that month on month basis.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So there's a book called Focus by Daniel Goleman, which says focus is the hidden driver of excellence. On the other hand, there's a book called Unfocus by Srini Pillai, who's a neuroimaging guy. He says you must take time out to unfocus if you want to focus better.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that little battery charging will help you to even succeed more, fail harder, and party hardest. Lovely, I loved it. Fantastic, Param. Good. So tell me, what's the future? Because as I see this, you're so in the present with your focus on month-to-month growth. You guys are doing amazing, you and your wife, from what I hear, because Khalil Gibran, the poet, he said like music, when you play guitar or you play sitar or anything, the strings have to be a little away from each other for you to play good music. So at the same time, they're on the same guitar or same instrument. So you have beautiful values as the same as your wife. You have fantastic vision, which is same, but you are a little bit apart in terms of individuality, which is why beautiful music is playing. So congratulations on that also. That's fantastic. I want to know about your way of managing people. Do you, if even 10% of the way you think, if it is translated in terms of values to the rest of your organization, that would do great, is my understanding. But what do you feel about that? How does it work? I noticed one more thing about you. You are very open to diversity in terms of ways of thinking, but very focused on goal.
So you have asked me, 2-3 things. One is the future. One is the people management aspect. So let's So on the people management side, so I would rate Shreedha slightly better than me in terms of managing people. So if it's not a good cop or a bad cop thing which we try and establish, but it's important that within your high pace growth, people keep on giving you feedback in terms that what is going right, what are hits, what are misses, and they're also given an open field to bat, right? Because if it's like the two of us cannot create a large, a 10-20 billion dollar company, right? It has to be large team that does it, that delivers it, And it's important for us also as the promoters found, we don't call ourselves as the owners of the company, as us that who have founded this baby, right, have given birth to it, that we have to listen, we have to learn from any new person coming into the organization. We will have to give our pace, our vision to them so that they blend into that. But we also have to learn with every new perspective coming into the organization and give them some open arena to back, so that until they give us a new way to think, new perspective to look at, we will not be able to incorporate and add it to the large bubble, large ball which we are trying to build, and combine that energy so that it moves faster, right? So for us, it's like there have to be good people, but how do we make them good to great? It will be their learnings, our learnings, getting combined and creating a large ball of energy to drive it to success. This is how we work.
Brilliant. You know what comes across, viewers, from Param, his name, the para of his first four letters is the first four letters of paradox. And I've been noticing throughout our conversation, he's been bringing out the brilliant elements of both sides of every paradox. Whether it is a marriage, whether it is about focus and unfocus, work hard and party hardest, and even felt whether it is about fear, that fear is bad when it is suppressing, but fear is good when it is inspiring. Almost everything, Param, that you have shared, if I was to look for the common thread, including your multitasking, is about looking at things from here, then looking at things from there, and then taking the alignment path. I think this is an absolutely brilliant conversation. Thank you so much, Param.
One last thing,
yeah, please,
on the future and the vision side, right?
Please.
So we are in this for a very long journey in terms of so it was started from building one brand. Now it has gone to how do we build India's Unilever? TAC would become India's answer to the Unilever of the world. That how do we build a Unilever? And how do we position Ayurveda globally and make it as the largest and the most loved Ayurveda brand globally and accessible to across all population, giving all solutions under Ayurveda within our portfolio. And next 5 years, FY23 to FY28, the dream is that we reach our starting point of the race, that is our IPO. How do we take it, build a strong.
By the way,
but FY28, we would intend to ring the bell at the NSE, right? Where how do we do it? But we want to build a fundamentally strong, profitable organization. We don't want to.
Congratulations in advance.
We don't want to burn capital to reach there. We want to create value for everyone who's involved. Because if investors will not be able to make money if we keep burning, because at the end of the day, the success ratio for successful startups is very less. So how do we identify those pillars which the old owners, old promoters in the country know कि यार profitable धंधा चलाते कैसे, बनाते कैसे. So वो जरूरी है starting day से. Then we will be able to create large value for everyone involved. That's the vision.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. V is values based. E is excellence. D is dynamic, because things are changing very fast. And A is aligned with reality. This is your Veda from your Ayurveda.
Great. Love it. So
Jaji, please, go ahead.
We would use it in our organization.
Please do. I'll be happy to give you more also. No? I generate them on the spot based on what I perceive. One last thing I'd like to share with you, please. There's a beautiful Sanskrit shlok. Amantaram aksharo nashti, nashti mula manavshadam, ayogya purusho nashti, yojakas tatra durlabha. Amantaram aksharo nashti, there isn't a single akshar from which a mantra cannot be made. There isn't a single letter of the alphabet from which a hymn cannot be made. Amantaram aksharo nashti, nashti mula manavshadam is related to you right now. There isn't a single root of a tree, according to Ayurveda, from which a medicinal herb cannot be made. जिसे औषध नहीं बनाया जा सके.
बिल्कुल.
Charkacharya was who wrote considered one of the principal founders of Ayurveda. He sent his disciples. They asked him, "I want to give you Guru Dakshina." He said, "Go out and find me one root of a tree, of a plant, from which I cannot make medicine." And he made it. This is a brilliant science that you are bringing back into awareness of the people. I wish government support you. I wish everybody in India supports you, because we can make a huge difference to the entire world. Ayogya Purusho Nashti. There isn't a single individual who does not have the potential for greatness. Yojakas Tatra Durlabha, matlab jo nayab hai, jo rare. The thing that is rare is finding the person who can bring the mantra, make the mantra out of the akshara, make the hymn out of the letter. Finding the person who can make the medicine out of the herb. Finding the person who can bring the best out of people, that is rare. And that rare person, Param, is you with your wife. You guys are doing a great job in bringing India back to India.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was a great conversation with you, Param. I wish you the very best, and we make India shine. Thank
Equally
you.
interesting conversations, Avinash. So these sides are very rarely they come out, because this is one of our actual secrets of success,
Viewers, please see that there is not much of a difference between the quality of the individual and the quality of his results. Most people just want to do something to get the result. But to do something, you have to be something. I hope you watch this episode again and pick up as much as you can from who he is and who he is becoming. That's more exciting than what he's doing and his success. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.